Hola amigos, today is very special for me. I'll be talking to Gaston Acurio, Peru's most renowned chef. His mission is to make the world fall in love with Peru. He's built an empire around Peruvian food. He owns so many restaurants worldwide, a culinary school, he's got his own TV show, and has many books. I'm at La Mar, Cebicheria Peruana, one of his many restaurants, and I can't wait to introduce him to you.
No importa dónde sea, pero si está rico, la gente va a ir.
Definitivamente, los australianos son bien, les encanta probar. O sea,
Y les gusta lo spicy, les gustan los citrus, cítricos, entonces son sabores que...
I'm honored to be sitting next to Gaston Acurio, the father of Peru's gastronomic revolution. Thank you so much for your time today.
No, thank you. Thank you for having this opportunity to share with your followers, with your audience, the history of our Peruvian cuisine.
You are an immensely renowned chef that's devoted and committed in promoting Peruvian cuisine. You put Peru on the world map. How would you describe our food to someone that doesn't know much about Peru?
Okay, Peruvian cuisine is a story of 10,000 years actually, since the first Peruvians that arrived to this country, where they found a huge biodiversity that was built for millions of years, of course. When they found a country that has almost all the weathers of the world in the same territory, and of course with these different environments, different cultures were developed. No? Cultures that understood the resources and treated them in a very sustainable way. Suddenly, the Inca Empire finally designed almost 50% of what are global ingredients now: corn, potatoes, tomatoes, chocolate, peanuts, strawberries, avocado, quinoa, of course, a lot of them. So those ingredients were wild at the beginning, and our ancient engineers, they domesticated them and they designed for them dishes and culture, of course. Second period of our history is when we had a war between Spain and the Inca Empire. The Inca Empire lost that war. A new period of Peru as a colony of 300 years arrived, which had terrible stories, of course, but was the beginning of an encounter between both cultures. So we continue to build our multicultural country. Slavery arrived, tragically. Slavery arrived from Africa, and also this community brought their own soul and ingredients and culture. When slavery was abolished, when the slaves became free, Chinese community arrived to work on the fields, and of course they brought also their culture. At the end of 19th century, Italians and Japanese arrived because of the problems they had in their own countries, because they always were listening all over the world that there was a country with a huge biodiversity that maybe everybody could make their dreams come true, that was called Peru, and from Japan, which is so far from China, from Africa, from Italy, from Spain, all over the world came to this country. So normally when that happens, these communities try to separate each other in other countries, no? They build kind of ghettos of the Italian community in New York, the Indian community in other countries. That didn't happen in Peru. We mix all together. So my friends, for example, I have a friend that her mother is from Italy, his father is from Africa. Other friend her mother is from Japan, his father is from Spain. The other friend is from the Inca land, and her mother is from the Arab world.
It's a true mix.
Exactly. So what happened? All the dishes of our food culture are a result of this biodiversity, of course, huge variety of ingredients, but it's a result of this necessity of the families to put together both cultures. Try to put on a table the culture of your mother and the culture of your father. So if your father was Japanese and your mother was Italian, and she wants to put a carpaccio and the other wants to put sashimi, so we invented tiradito, which is a mix of both. The other one wanted risotto and the other one wanted Chinese fried rice, so we invented arroz con mariscos or arroz chaufa, which are these. Every dish is the result of a balance of all the different cultures that arrived to our country in the last centuries. So that's why people love so much Peruvian cuisine in Peru. Peruvians we really are touched when we talk about cuisine, because it takes us all the time to our family, to our memories, to our houses, to our childhood, and the result of this story of 2,000 years is hundreds of dishes. We have traditional dishes that you will not find anywhere. We have hundreds of soups. They're completely different. Sometimes they look Chinese, sometimes they look Japanese, sometimes they look Italian. Sometimes even the names are like Italian words. Minestrone is like comes from minestrone, but they're Peruvian when you taste them because they're different. Because it's the result of our multicultural society trying to find the points in common together, which is not an easy thing to do when you are so different, no?
Yeah.
But we arrived to that. We succeed in our food. Maybe we're not succeeding in other areas, but in food, we really succeed to build a multicultural society.
Yeah.
And that's why we feel united when we talk about food. That's why when you arrive to Peru, everybody will be very happy to see your face of happiness when you taste our dishes. It's something that makes us very happy. So it's a perfect combination between biodiversity, culture, and emotions.
Incredibly put. It's basically, as you say, a melting pot of cultures. And it's really interesting because in Australia, for example, we've got a lot of different cultures living there. Indian, Chinese, Japanese. But there's still their own cuisines. They haven't mixed with the Australian native ingredients.
Yeah, but that's a matter of time. Because Australia is a very young country.
Very young.
No? So it's building their own traditions. It's in the middle of the process of building their own traditions. That day will arrive when these families married between people from one country and another country, using their local ingredients, mixing both traditions, will find a new flavor, which is the Australian flavor.
Yeah.
It's something that will happen, definitely will happen. It's happening now, probably, in all these beautiful restaurants that younger chefs of younger generations are opening now. They're looking to find their own soul, which is a perfect balance of all the cultures that are arriving to Australia in the last years. So that's very exciting to know, no? There's gonna, in the future, we will taste new dishes of a new country that finally developed its own cuisine, which is Australian cuisine, no?
Yeah.
That's, for us, it's amazing, no? Because it's kind of our story, no?
Yeah, definitely. And you've been in Australia recently. What was your favorite dish in Australia, or a favorite ingredient that you saw that kind of caught your eye?
It's not easy to find like a very traditional Australian dish, but you find amazing representations of all the cuisines of the communities that are now living and are becoming Australian, no? What I saw in, in different regions of Chinese cuisine, of all the Indian cuisine and Malaysian cuisine and Indonesian cuisine, but also Vietnamese and Thailandese cuisine was really delicious, no? I remember 2 or 3 restaurants that I went in Melbourne that were really amazing, no? I'm doing this kind of Australian Asian cuisine, with a big influence of Asia, which was something that anybody could love. No, these are flavors. As Peruvian, we love spicy, we love citrusness, we love the fragrance of the herbs, the colors. This vibrant kind of cuisine is our style of cuisine. So I taste the cuisine of young chefs opening a beautiful restaurant that was really amazing. No?
You own many restaurants overseas. How do you adapt your restaurants for the overseas market? Do you find it's difficult replicating true authentic dishes with the produce that you can get overseas?
Yeah, well, the first thing we learn in this journey is that we must be authentic, as authentic as we can. People love to discover, to travel to a country through their flavors. So when you make a huge effort to bring your culture to a country that is very far, that the opportunity is to bring the original flavor, the original recipe, because that's what people like now. To travel, when you get into a country, it's kind of an embassy of another country. Try to discover the real cultural, the real flavors of that country. So the limitations for that purpose, of course, are the ingredients you can get.
Yeah.
And you need to sometimes adapt a little bit if it's that possible, but not to adapt to the local sensitivity. No, adapt to the local ingredients.
Yeah.
The truth is that any food culture in the world needs only 4 ingredients to reproduce the authentic flavors of that country. When you open an Italian restaurant, for example, you only need prosciutto, balsamic vinegar, Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. You can find the pasta locally, you can find the basil locally, you can find beautiful tomatoes locally, you know. When you open a Japanese restaurant, you need wasabi, seaweed for the sushi, and maybe sake or mirin, that's it. The rest of the ingredients you will find there. So there are key ingredients in case of Peru, like ají amarillo, of course. The chiles, actually, that will give you the right flavor. But the rest is a necessity also to support local farmers, local fishermen, local producers of the area, of everything. And you bring maybe 3, 4, or 5 ingredients of your own country, no? The mistake would be, okay, maybe people don't like too spicy here, so I'm gonna change the flavor. No.
Keep it how it is.
Yeah.
Leave it authentic.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the beautiness.
Yeah.
Every food culture is beautiful. You must be proud of it. You must not doubt that everybody will love it, because maybe some people will not like it as they don't like other cuisines. But the opportunity is sharing your authentic flavors with other communities, no? That's the most important thing.
I completely agree. We've got, as you said, an immense biodiverse country. What's the most intriguing or exciting or unique produce that you've worked with, or that's your favorite to work with?
I'll try to bring huacatai always.
Oh yeah.
Huacatai. Huacatai is an herb that looks like marijuana, but it's not. Which has a very unique flavor, unique aroma, kind of earthy, connected with the Andes, mystical flavor. So when you add that herb, just one piece of that herb to a soup, the flavor changes completely and gives you this unique flavor. It's when Thailandese, for example, put a little bit of citronelle or lima kaffir or lime kaffir, no? It changes everything to that soup.
Yeah.
That happens with huacatai in our soups and in our stews.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the secret ingredient, no? Because chiles you will find everywhere, in different types of flavors and colors, no? But huacatai only in Peru.
It's only in Peru.
It's
It's
the
like
herb.
the black Peruvian mint.
Yeah, it's the herb of Peru.
Yeah.
And that gives you this Peruvian unique flavor, no? So I'll try to bring to any country that we go, bring some huacatai
Yeah.
to spread that herb all over the world, no?
Yeah.
That's the idea, no? But that's part of this beautiful story of constantly sharing new ingredients, no? Because it's not only the ingredients that we already shared. It's not only the ceviche that we already shared with all the world, or maybe the causa or the anticuchos, that every foodie or passion of food knows all over the world now.
Yeah.
When you go to Spain, to a small town, to a small bar, you get in, you open the menu, and you see tortilla española, Peruvian ceviche. No, now,
Yeah.
now that's a reality, no? The beautiful thing is that we still have hundreds of recipes and ingredients to discover to the world in the next years.
Yeah.
What we did till now is try to share the most popular dishes that we have, the most popular ingredients that we have, so you can fall in love with our culture, with our country through food, which is something beautiful to do for every country, because when you share your food culture with another country, this country will start loving you.
Yeah.
And if everybody shares food cultures, we could build a more peaceful world, no? So that's part of the big idea, no? Sharing everybody food cultures to become together and closer, no?
Yeah.
And in our case, we just sent this message in the last 15 years with just a couple of our ingredients and recipes, just a couple of our concepts, no? We are, for example, in one of the most strong concepts of Peruvian cuisine, which is a Peruvian Ceviche restaurant,
Yeah.
which is called Cebicheria. And when you come to Lima, you will discover that you find more than 5,000 cevicherias all over the city.
Definitely.
Small, big, fancy, popular, regional, all types of cevicherias. You will find that we don't have food trucks, but we have carretillas, which is our food truck style. And some of them are of ceviche, doing in front of you the ceviche in the same moment for a small budget, a beautiful and fresh ceviche on the corner of the streets, no? But this is just the beginning, no? In the next years, as the same way happened with regional cuisine for Italy and France and China, the world will discover our regional cuisines, for example, the cuisine from Arequipa, the cuisine from the north of Peru, and they will discover a lot of dishes that are still unknown, kind of hidden, waiting for their moment. No?
Yeah.
We have 2 or 3 more generations of chefs already trained for that purpose. The ones that, like me, start this journey of Peruvian cuisine for the world, we feel very proud and lucky to see that the next generations are becoming famous in the world. The younger generations are dreaming to be like them. So this is a story that will never end.
Yeah.
But it's very important to say that it's not our dream to conquer the world. It's not our dream to be better than other food culture. It's our dream to share with our food culture with the world, and it's as is our dream to receive in Lima, Peru, all the foods of the world too, because we believe on that as a beautiful way to build a new world.
And speaking of ceviche, we're in La Mar, one of your many restaurants, a cevicheria.
Yes.
And ceviche itself is a beautiful dish that, pairs to what you were saying. Because we traditionally, we use the tumbo, no? The Incas use the tumbo fruit to marinate the ceviche. And then when the Spanish came, they introduced the lime. And then when the Japanese came, the recipe changed as well. So it's kind of like the ceviche, our flagship dish, is a story of all these different of progress and recipes being adapted.
Of course, that's a perfect example of what we are as a country, of our history. The beginning, our fishermen brought salt to their boats and chiles. So chile ají, el ají was a medicine.
Yeah.
And the salt was conservation. Both were flavors at the same time. So they put salt and chiles, ají, and that was the first ceviche.
Yeah.
Then after the war, Spain and the Incas, limes arrived. The limes adapted to our environment, and the small Peruvian lime was born.
Yeah. They're beautiful.
And onions arrived. And the onions adapted to our environment, and these beautiful purple red onions were born too. And they start, instead of doing war, they start making love with our chiles and our fishes and our potatoes and our corn. Our first ceviche was born that was marinated for hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Japanese community arrived with their love for all the seafood, using everything of the ocean, putting on value all the sources of the ocean, and with their own style of cooking. So suddenly, in the 80s of the 20th century, ceviche recipe was completely changed, different.
Yeah.
Instead of hours, was kind of seconds.
Yeah.
As you will see with Juan, he will do a ceviche since scratch for you. And the ceviche, as the way we eat now in Peru, was born, and is the ceviche that we shared with the world. The ceviche Peruvian style. You have ceviche in Mexico, you have ceviche in Costa Rica, you have ceviche in Ecuador, you have ceviche in Chile.
Yeah.
So, what we are sharing with the world is ceviche in a Peruvian style in a city that feels that ceviche is much more than a dish.
Yeah.
It's a way of living, it's a way of feeling. For us, ceviche is something much more important than just a dish.
Yeah.
Something to eat.
And people think, they see ceviche, they think it's a simple dish, but it's so complex. You have to get the perfect balance between salt, acidity, spiciness. It's really complex in that way with the flavor profile.
Yes, that's why I always tell, I'm going to lie to you if I'll give you the recipe, exact recipe of ceviche.
Yeah.
Because you need to understand the acidity, understanding that every lime is different. You need to understand the spiciness you need and the balance between acidity and spiciness and salt. Understanding that every chile ají is different. Even here, every lime is different. Even here, you need to taste every lime, because what you have in your soul and in your memory is the taste of ceviche. So sometimes you will need 5 limes, sometimes you will need 10. Sometimes you will need just a little bit of chili, sometimes you will need one big chili. All the fishes are different, you will see them. Every fish is different.
Yeah.
When you receive a fish here in La Mar, you need to almost talk with the fish, with the limes, with the onions.
Yeah.
Because they will tell you, okay, please I am not for ceviche today. I am for frying because I have too much grease for ceviche. No, I am perfect for ceviche because I'm really, 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 really in the perfect point of maduration of the flesh. That is the best way you can have a ceviche now, in my case. So you need to understand, and when you understand the ingredients, for example, in a fish, the salt sometimes are this thick, sometimes are this thick. When they're this thick, you cut the ceviche in this way. When they're small, you need to cut them in cubes, so you can have a big bite. We can't tell an exact recipe. You need to come to Peru and taste a ceviche and then go back and do the same.
Come to Peru and taste our incredible ceviche.
We just opened.
We just opened La Mar Gaston.
People from all over the world coming to eat, to taste ceviche in Lima, Peru. That's beautiful because Lima has become a food destiny in the last years, as you can see now. And the music comes because ceviche is party. Cebicheria is where la fiesta.
Gaston, thank you so much, not only for your time today, but thank you for everything you've done for Peru, for our cuisine, for our people. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, and I invite you, everybody, to come to Peru. You will find a beautiful hospitality of Peruvians, because we love receiving people from all over the world, and we love to share our culture. We love that dreaming that you will go back to your countries with a beautiful memory of Peru.